Hi, welcome back. I'm sorry it's been a while. Things have been a little bit mental and, well, anywho, not important, but I've decided to employ the same mindset that I'm employing with the rest of my existence at the moment, garden included, and that is that done is better than perfect. So I shan't apologise for all the mess. I'm just going to show you how it really is, what I'm up to, because loads is going on. I just haven't I don't know, I think I've just been off my head a little bit about making videos and it's all supposed to be going perfectly at the moment and it is a little bit of madness, but things are happening, stuff is growing. Let me get you up to date on what's going on. So this is the state of the tunnel at the moment. It is, well, there's stuff, but it's not particularly organised. So I've kind of changed up how I'm doing the tomatoes this year. Last year I ran them down the middle here and used just bamboo canes and that was stupid and nowhere near strong enough. So this year these bamboos are just here to show where the edge of this bed is, so that when this guy was tiny I didn't stand on him or the dog didn't stand on him. But this year I have tied wires in. I have buried those under the root ball of the seedling as I transplanted the tomato in here. And then that is tied on to the roof bar of this tunnel. So I'm hoping that I can just wind the main stem of the indeterminate tomatoes around that wire and that will just train them up to the roof of the tunnel. I don't know if that's going to work, but I'm hopeful that it is. As you hopefully can see, I've got a good couple of rows going along down the middle here. There's some volunteers all over the place in here. I've got tomatillos and tomatoes growing everywhere. I'm only removing them at the moment when I want the space for something else, because just in case I want to save them and move them, because they will look better than anything I've started from seed, obviously. But otherwise these run all the way up to the bushiness in the back, which is a parsley which has now gone to seed, and so it needs to come out of here, but for now it's just, I'm only doing stuff as required. And there's also straw flower in there which I've been taking the flower heads off of and keeping them for one day when I do something beautiful with them. Behind me this side we've still got one remaining broccoli plant. I think this is the end now. We need to eat it or lose it, but it has done really well, and I think I'm going to do broccoli for dinner tonight. So my plan is to do tomatoes all the way down the middle of the tunnel this year, just because they get the full height. Last year I had them both in the middle and along the edges, and the ones along the edges just didn't. I had to top them at sort of 5 foot because otherwise they start pressing up against the plastic of the polytunnel, and then it was all damp and getting a bit, hard to keep the airflow there. So I think I'm going to prioritise the tomatoes down the centre of the tunnel this year, and then all the lower things can go along the edges. So we're putting in a bit more support along the edges as well for probably cucumbers and melons, primarily in here, that need something to grow up. Again, I used bamboo canes last year, they weren't strong enough, everything was falling over. It was a bit of a pain in the ass, so I've gone a little bit more heavy duty this year in the hopes that I can spend less time trying to pick stuff back up after it falls on the ground. That's a nail gun. I'll just build me a trellis outside. Hi! So I've put all my peppers out. Everything came out here a bit too early, realistically, but that is what it is. We were away on holiday, and the decision was either leave them with the house sitters inside and give them that extra work to do. And realistically, I have the house sitters when we go on holiday. I get house sitters, so they look after my animals. I don't want to also say you've got to keep all these plants alive. Anyway, I put the peppers and the tomatoes out here probably a couple of weeks earlier than I otherwise would have, but we shall see how that goes. So I've got flowers on these pepper plants. I've got 2 varieties in at the moment. I've got the California Wonder, which I grew last year, did really well, gave me really nice big sweet bell peppers, and then I got an extra variety this year, a yellow stuffing pepper, which I got from the Wells Seed Hub. which I'm quite excited about. Hopefully that does well here, because it has been grown in similar conditions to this in Wales, in North Wales. So fingers crossed we'll get some yellow stuffing peppers as well. There's a lot of remnants of brassicas and things going on in here, remnants of spinach and peas and things that were in here over winter, so I'm just letting those, I'm just taking those out when I need the space. This wire went in with this tomato plant, but as you can see, this bean, I did not sow this bean was self-sown. This is a volunteer that must have come. I mean, it looks like it's coming out of where the plant was. Is that a thing that beans do? Because I don't think I dropped any bean seeds in here. Like it looks like it's coming out of the base of the plant itself. Like, there was a bean plant here on this woody bit. Can you see what I'm... And then these new shoots seem to have come out of it. I mean, this is spinach. Ignore that. But this, you see this here is the plant from last summer. And it looks like they are literally coming out of the same bit. I don't know if that's a thing. But anywho, this guy has found this wire for this tomato and he's just taken over it. And I'm not mad about it. I'm just going to let him crack on. Otherwise, I got this kale, which, I mean, we need to eat. We need to eat pretty seriously. It's been in here all winter and it's done really well. And we have eaten some, but obviously not enough. It was just a trial to see how they do out here. The answer is amazingly over winter. But I need space now, and I don't suppose he's going to be appreciating how warm it is getting in here at the moment. So I'm mostly just clearing out in here as and when I need the space for something else, or I have the time to come out here and actually put other things out. But I'm also starting lots of seeds, and most of that's happening out here. I have a cold frame up by the house, which I'm starting things that I thought might be a little bit fussy and I might need to bring in overnight and things like that. But otherwise everything is down here. So I've started some beans, some corn, and then everything that's been potted up is out here as well. So all the tomatoes waiting to go in, the gooseberry, the Cape gooseberries, the tomatillos, the peppers. There's lots of things just in little pots around here that will eventually be going in. I started the sweet corn direct. I mean, not direct, it's not in the ground. They just get eaten by whatever. But I started them in seed trays down here, beans and sweet corn on the go now. I mean, when those beans came up as volunteers, I thought it's probably time for me to sow my on-purpose beans out here. And then we've got the broad beans left from last year. They've been overwintering. I've had a few rounds of them, like small batches. They're too much faff to be like double podding. I do like them double podded. If you've had broad beans, so they're in a big long normal bean pod. You open that and they're in little pods, and then if you boil them, you know, just blanch them for a minute or so, you can take the little bean from inside that inner pod, and that is delicious. But it's quite a lot of work to do that. I'm not growing enough broad beans to say they're actually going to be a significant amount of my diet, but I do like them, and it's nice at this time of year to have that thing a bit early. But I think this is the last round. Anything that's left in here now needs to come out and be eaten. And as you can see, I've got some coriander that has just gone insane. I'm surprised it lasted this long, to be honest. I've had these couple of coriander plants in here over winter, which have done okay. But yeah, since spring hit, they've just gone insane. This one is only just going to flower, but there's another one down here which has been in flower, and they're starting to form the seeds, and it just, as soon as you touch them, you can smell the coriander. So hopefully I'm going to save those. I mean, I'm not massively worried about the seeds falling in here because it's so hot that even if they germinate, they're not going to do very well. Coriander does not like it hot. So I'm going to try and collect some seeds and grind my own coriander, which I think would just be awesome. And then otherwise in here, oh, I have something else exciting in here. This is a grapevine, or two grapevines. This is my potting bench that's just been bunged in front of them. But these went in last year. There's one here and then there's one behind. And they grew up here all last year. Didn't look great. This bit of ground didn't get loads of prep before they went in, but they were in pots and they were looking not happy when they went in. So I put them in last year. Not much happened. They had a little bit of growth, but you know, they didn't look very happy. And anyway, spring has happened and they have sprung. and they seem to have forgiven me for the harsh treatment, which is very exciting. And we have our first tiny little grapeplets, I don't know what you call them, but nonetheless that is very, very, very exciting to me. There's more fruity things happening in the food forest, but I'm probably going to save that for the next video because I just wanted to do a quick catch up with what we got going on. And there's bits going on outside, not loads, but I'll show you. Been distracted from the tour because we're building trellises, and that's way more interesting. Talking to them. So I'm gonna hold while you're gonna do all the hard work.
Yeah, I don't know if I actually even need you.
Oh.
I'm gonna see if I can just stand up. It's so heavy. Might just hold itself up.
Doesn't need me.
You're free to do your own thing. Be your own woman.
Oh, thanks. Come on, asparagus.
Huh?
Come on, asparagus. Next year. We'll be eating it next year. Do you want me to push it?
Yeah. As high up from the top end as you can, probably. Be easy
On
to
this
push.
rather than that.
Yeah. Can you feel it move? Oh, yeah, that's good. See, feel that?
Hello. This is Jessie. You don't see her very often because you don't venture down here very often, do you? Good girl. She's basically a million years old. So trellis exists. So sorry about that. Got distracted from you, but it was worth it. Now I need to make dinner, so I'm just coming in here to get that broccoli because it really does need to be picked. You can see they're just getting a little bit loose. This is probably like more of the ideal way to get them. They're nice and tight, just starting to loosen up. Like this one here, that one looks perfect. This is a bit looser than I would like, but I'm still gonna eat this. And we'll have broccoli with our dinner tonight. So we're about coming to the end of our overwintered broccoli, but still, it's a pretty nice little harvest. This is a sprouting broccoli, so I'll show you in here. I've cut it here, but you can see these tiny little shoots coming out in the armpits. They'll develop into new heads, and then we'll probably get another flush out of this plant, which is great. But there's a second plant behind here, the one that's all gone to flower here, and you can kind of see how they do. At some point it kind of runs out, and it does keep putting them out, but they're this kind of sparse, long, spindly, they get a bit woody, and they're not dense anymore. So at that point I kind of do just let them go. Oh, there's the guy, I missed him. So I'll take this one now, but leave these little ones in here because they might just give us another go before this plant gives up. Okay. Right, I'll leave it there for today. I'll show you the food forest and stuff in the next one, I think. I'm getting a bit of a streak there of not posting, so this is me breaking that and posting. I'll see you again soon.